Hey, Heart of the City listeners. One thing about building something like this is it's just not always perfect. We had some audio issues in this episode with Tim, and we went back and forth on whether to re record. The conversation, though, just feels real and honest and too important to lose. So we're sharing it anyway. There's always the option to watch episodes on Spotify and YouTube, and we did add captions to this one in case you need them. Thank you so much in advance for giving us a little grace and leaning in with us. Well, Tim Moore, welcome to Heart of the City.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for being on. I honestly was like, do I call him Tim Moore or Tim Eats? You know, it's like one of those. It's like when you meet someone and you like remember their dog's name and not their name.
I've accepted it as my new last name, basically.
Yes, absolutely. Hey, there could be worse last names.
For sure.
So you run an incredibly successful food influencer account, which has just been so cool to follow. It has not been long since you've been at that. So I'm so excited to kind of dive in and just hear about your growth and the evolution of everything and where it's heading. So thanks so much for being here.
I'm happy you're here.
Okay, I'm going to start out with just a quick little game, if you will. We're going to get loosened up. I'm going to give you a scenario. You give me one spot in town, no explanation, just your instinct, okay?
I'm ready.
Okay. Restaurant for a date night.
Calliope.
Restaurant to impress your in-laws.
Boathouse.
Ooh, okay. $15 and you're starving.
Murder Lame.
Hell yeah. Girls' night out.
Easy Bistro.
I knew that was coming. Great one. Solo lunch with a book.
Hunger Mupper.
Late night chaos.
Boneyard.
Taking an out-of-towner somewhere that feels like Chattanooga.
That's a good one. It's a good one. Put a little bit Chattanooga. I would say, sorry about this.
No, take your time.
Very
This is hard, yeah.
Sorry, I feel so intensely Chattanooga. I would say, gosh, that's such a good question. Yeah, it's like that restaurant that feels so uniquely Chattanooga represents all of it. Now you see why I'm such a different thing.
Honestly, this is why you're good at what you do. Okay, let's come back to that.
Let's go back.
Okay. Yeah, you'll think on it as we go, I bet. Okay. Okay, the last one is need to carbo load on pasta.
I'm a big Aaliyah person.
Ooh, me too. Aaliyah, so good. Okay. Love it. Those are fun. Great answers. Some of my favorites. Okay, so what was the meal that made you care about food?
I think for me, looking back at you're talking about childhood, how recent are we talking?
Oh, I mean, let's go back. Sure. What's your earliest meal memory that you're just obsessed with?
I remember a time that my grandma made something homemade for me literally once in my life, and it was so much work for her that she'd never made it again. And it was this my family's actually from the Midwest. I grew up here, but they came here from the Midwest, and they ate this dish called runza, which is basically almost like a sandwich that's baked into bread.
Oh.
And it's a very kind of Nebraska, Kansas dish. And it's very regional to that part of the world. And it felt so unique and unlike anything I had had before. And I remember that was among the food memories from growing up. I was like, this is so good. And even at 10, 11 years old, I was like, this is unlike anything I've had before. She never made it.
Yeah, I'm I've never even heard of this. That's crazy.
Yeah, so it was a lot of work, but for some reason that really stood out to me. I don't know if it was just because it was so different from the cuisine that I'm supposed to. And it sounds so simple, but it was something special.
That's so cool. So, okay, tell us a little bit about your career in the food space and then how that tethered to Tim Eats.
Yeah, I've been sort of adjacent to the food space for a while. So I actually being in 2020, during the pandemic, I went and worked for a group here locally called Proof. And they had a food incubator where they had several restaurant concepts, including Chef Kenyano, Neutral Ground, which everybody loves. some other concepts. They were also doing coaching for food and beverage entrepreneurs locally and across the state, kind of helping them figure out like how we navigate this whole thing.
Yeah.
So I worked for that group for a couple of years. And then, I had already kind of had that passion for food and beverage and working with entrepreneurs in that space, but that really accelerated that passion. And so from there, I actually started like working more independently with restaurants, and it's just sort of like that. It's just been something that's been evolving for me. And I think I've always just seen such a connection between the food you eat and the people who make it, the stories that brought it to the plate. I've always been a very curious kind of person like that. And so like when I think about 10 Eats and how that all came together, I think it was like all those components coming together, like loving entrepreneurs on that space, loving food, of the stories. So like it just kind of all like happened, and it happened because my wife was like, you need to do this. Like, you want somebody to tell these stories, you need to be the person to do that. So
This episode is brought to you by Forte Fitness. What I love about Forte's personal training approach is it isn't focused on body image or outward appearance, but rather lifelong wellness and functional movement. Forte has been an integral part of my life and has seen me through a lot of seasons, including 2 pregnancies, 2 postpartum seasons, and now juggling 2 babies while still doing my best to prioritize my workouts. The team at Forte is all about meeting you where you are. Whether you've never picked up a weight in your life or you're ready for the next challenge, there is a place for you. Your first step will be a one-on-one consultation with the owner, Adam Lozano, and from there, he will pair you with the best trainer to meet your goals. Text Adam at 423-838-0086 to set up your consultation and mention Heart of the City to get your first 3 personal training sessions for free. That is so sweet. Man, shout out to your wife. Oh, that's so great. Okay, so what was it about working at Proof and just like getting to know those chefs and entrepreneurs that really accelerated your passion? Like what specifically do you remember just feeling like really on fire about?
I think just the fact that like, especially during the pandemic, it was like, it kind of changed, I think, a lot of people's like relationships like with food and how we get it and all that sort of thing, and like restaurant experiences. And it just like, I saw how hard like entrepreneurs in that space like work, and how I think truly underappreciated they are. Like,
Totally.
like food literally impacts everybody. Like we all eat it. We all, for whatever frequency, go out eat. And so when I saw like the amount of work they were putting in, the barriers they were facing, the challenges they were facing, still are today, I was like, this is like a group of people whose like energy I just want to like
Soak up.
soak up. Yeah.
Yes.
Like what keeps them going. I want to feel like I can showcase that. And yeah, it also like rub off on me a little bit because yeah, they're some of the hardest working people you'll ever meet.
That is so true, and I love that. That's so cool. Do you remember like a specific moment when your account went from like posting about food to like really having an influence?
I would say there were a couple of moments, but I think especially like last summer, I went and ate at Ox2 Buns and Noodles during a soft opening week, and I knew like just from like being there and experiencing it, and I brought a couple of people with me who knew the cuisine like way better than I do. Like I knew that like this place is going to be popular, but when I posted that video, it felt like the reach that it got like went off the hinges from what I would expect. And all of a sudden, everybody I seemed to be interacting with was like, oh, I've got to go to that place. Or I just went to the place where I stood in line for an hour outside that place. And I mean, it's funny, like the term influencer, it's like, sure, like I helped like share what was going on and everything like that. But like I give all the merit to that restaurant itself because they're still doing just such an amazing job.
They are, and that's so true. I feel like the word influencer can feel so cringe, especially when you're at the center of it. But I mean, truly, you do have such an influence, and it's such a positive impact on not only the consumer but these chefs and these business owners. So it's definitely something to be proud of. And I did notice on your feed, the Ox2 post is a pinned post, which rightfully so. Like so many likes, and it's just so well done, and but also so authentic. It's not like overproduced, or I love that about your content. It feels very real. Like I'm sitting at the table in your POV, like eating. Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, it's awesome. I love it. Do you have like a sense of responsibility when you post about these restaurants?
Absolutely. Yes. I feel like I want to represent these places like really well and like as authentically as I can. And so like I feel like I'm very careful to not overhype places.
Mhm.
I don't want to just be like send people in not having, without giving an understanding what the experience is going to be like and what makes their cuisine unique or what makes their story special. So I feel like as much as I can kind of tell like the broader ballistic picture
Yeah,
for people, I feel like that hopefully gives them more appreciation for
totally.
it and more respect for it. So yeah, I definitely feel that. And there's times where I wanted to feature a place and I haven't because of that responsibility. I'm like, does this place need more people? There's a restaurant I like really want to feature in town that I'm like, I know it's always busy. I'm like, do they need more people? Like, I don't know, like doing them a disservice to their customers and everybody. So not that I'm a gatekeeper. I just like I overthink things like that.
Okay, so that's interesting because that was actually my next question. Like, have you ever chosen not to post something? But you're saying you didn't post it because you're like, they don't need more business. Like, have you ever gone and had a bad experience though and been like, no, I'm not posting about this?
I have a couple times.
Yeah.
I will say that people have said like, "Oh, you're a food reviewer," and I'm like, I definitely talk about like my food experience, but like if I were a true food reviewer, I would be
Roasting.
yeah, talk about the good and the bad, and like I've experienced plenty of both.
Of
Plus,
course.
I think when I've had a lesser experience, or maybe like, oh well, there's sort of that like invisible litmus test side
Totally.
to it, where I'm like, okay, well, maybe this isn't quite something that they're at a place where I want to share something about them yet, or maybe they're still working on all their processes,
Yes.
whatever it is. So I try to be respectful to that because at the end of the day, I really want to like support and uplift business owners. And like, so if I have a negative experience, I just don't make
No.
a video about
Yeah.
it.
I think that's really respectable because, I feel like for engagement purposes, sure, like negative reviews could probably get good engagement, but I'm with you. Like, that's just not who I am, and I wouldn't be like that either. So I feel like that makes sense. No, no, go.
I wouldn't want a restaurant owner to see me coming and think like, oh gosh,
Yeah.
like lock the doors. Or, like,
Yes.
like,
This is either going to be really good or really bad.
yeah, I don't want to like make anybody panic. So that's the total opposite vibe. I want them to feel very supportive.
Sweet. That's so cool. I think that's exactly how they feel. So what is the criteria of what gets on your platform? How do you decide? I mean, is it truly just like where you're eating and where you want to go? Or is it kind of like is it a bit of course it's intentional, but like, is there kind of a calculation that you've come up with or like a system?
Oh gosh, I said that with systems, but I've sort of developed it over time. Like I'm always looking for like places that are new, for instance, and kind of doing research into like the type of food that they're going to offer and like the people who are opening it. And like I'm sort of like I'm curious. Like I'm reading, articles from Learned Times Your Press about places and like things I'm seeing on Reddit. Like I'm always keeping an eye on places and kind of like wondering. And that was an example of Ox too. Like I'd seen on Reddit 2 or 3 months ahead of time this handful noodle place is gonna open. And I was like, what's this about?
Mm-hmm.
So, in terms of like deciding what to post, and like when to actually go and seek that out, it's usually driven by like either the cuisine itself is pretty unique to the area or they offer something particular on their menu that I think is really special. Or sometimes, it's not that like the food itself has to be extravagant or overly created. It's just that like there's a really great story and atmosphere
Totally.
around it and community around it.
Mhm.
So I'm not just looking for food. I'm looking for kind of like, you know, all the, those kind of more human elements that kind of help define our restaurant experience too.
Totally. I love that. The whole experience. It matters. It totally matters. And I feel like every aspect of the experience influences the other. It's like the food is amazing, but the atmosphere is okay. It all of a sudden makes the atmosphere feel better and like vice versa. Okay, let's pivot to talking about these amazing humans behind these restaurants. Who would you say is someone in Chattanooga who deserves like more credit than they get in this industry?
I think that they really are starting to get their due, and I know that they're a very really are starting to get their due, and I know that they're a very popular place, but need loves. Yeah, and
The best.
they always have the line out the door. We know that. They just got recognized by James Beard as, a semifinalist for Outstanding Bakery across the whole country.
Insane.
I think that there is like, one, the people who own it are such good people, who give so much to their employees and like don't think about them as like numbers. Like everybody there has a purpose. And there is also, we see so much. I got to recently walk back through the production area.
Oh, cool.
We see what's happening, on the cafe side. It's busy and they're taking your order. But what is happening behind the scenes is like, it's the closest thing I could imagine to like, we'll hit like Santa's workshop.
Oh.
There's like dozens of people running around, ovens like spinning, like there's like fires going, like it's absolute madness. And yet they have created a system where they are sending out thousands of loaves of bread and probably a good portion of like Chattanooga's caloric intake.
Literally.
Back to be ups. So like the fact that that's all been a homegrown business that they've just built brick by brick is really amazing.
It's insane. That's like, sounds magical back there. That's so cool. Are you going to feature them soon? Was that part of, okay.
That's something, it's one of my projects.
Okay, sweet. Oh man. Okay, projects in the works, like hold. Like, so you, like how long sometimes does a project take from the time you go, say, do your first visit to the time it's like featured on your page?
Sometimes there is like a matter of like 3 to 4 months from like initial contact of the business to finding a time to film, and then editing, getting that story.
Wow.
I've spent, as an example, I did a video. It wasn't a restaurant, but they're a big part of our food system. I did a video about Sequachico Farm.
Oh, nice.
I filmed at the beginning of last year, and I edited it on and off for 3 months just because it was so big and there was so much good stuff to share. And I was like, I could not figure out how to whittle it down to like 2 minutes. And so I just kept having to like leave it alone and come back. So like
2 minutes was your goal?
That was a goal.
Oh.
60 minutes worth of interview.
Oh, I've been there. That is so rough. And you're like literally only mad at yourself because you did it to yourself. But I just resonate so much with you because I just am like such a curious person too. And you're just soaking it all in. And you're like, all of a sudden it's just like veering off course. And you're like, how did we get here? But like, this is amazing.
I know sometimes I'm like, I'm only going to go in. I'm going to ask 3
questions.
But I just want to keep learning more about their story. And there's so, there's done. I hate to whittle it down to such a short amount of time, but I of course I'm such an overthinker that adds a whole other layer of complexity.
A whole nother layer. I mean, I feel like people like you and I who are more true journalists, we really actually suck at social media. Like the format is not for us, but like we're trying to get there. But not that you suck at your page at all. Obviously, you're amazing. I just mean like, in our heart of hearts, it is not the style we want to do because the 2-minute edit is so grueling.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Okay. Okay, so that's just so interesting. Like it can take that. And I think that's something we all need to remember about people who are making a difference in their community with their platform is it's just like these things aren't just like you walk into a place and like it turns around that day, like maybe sometimes, but like, I don't know. And like, do you find like, is there frustration or like, do you sometimes just get fed up when say you do work on a 3-monther and then it's just like, it doesn't even do that well on your page. You're just kind of like, damn it.
I have definitely experienced that before where like sometimes the things that you put the most thought into get the lowest engagement or the lowest amount of views. And then you'll do something that is like, in your mind so simple and it just like ignites.
This episode is brought to you by Chattanooga Shoe Company. If you know me, you know I'm obsessed with shoes. It's probably my main addiction when it comes to shopping. One reason I love shoes is they fit in every season of life and they can still be that statement piece in an outfit. Chattanooga Shoe Company not only curates styles that are cutting edge in the fashion world, but also their shoes are by far the most comfortable pairs that I own. Instead of only wearing the big brands like Adidas and UGG, I love wearing things that not everybody else has. And Chattanooga Shoe Company has introduced me to brands from all over the world that I would have never otherwise known existed. I get compliments on my shoes just about every single day, and I'm so proud when I get to say they're from Chattanooga Shoe Company. Use code HOTC for 10% off your purchase when you shop online at chattanoogashoe.com. That's when I literally am like, I just suck at this, because seriously, what I thought was just going to be like award-winning cinema is like 14 likes, and then you're like, oh, okay, cool. The thing I like wasn't even going to do today, like, is exploding. It's so annoying.
I did something a couple months ago that like, it's not like it was one of my most liked posts, but I did something where it was like just a cold, rainy day.
Yeah.
And I was like, had existing content I've shot, and I was like, what if I just did something about like just like warm, cozy meals? And I found some photos and some videos, and I compiled them. It took like less than a couple of hours, and people were like, "This is great! That 6 cozy meals of Chattanooga." And I was like, the amount of thought I put into this is so minimal.
So minimal. Have you ever thought about like, or have you ever like called in backup to ever like help you with ideas or to help you dwiddle, like get a video down, or like, have you ever had any support system in that arena, or it's really just been you solo?
It's been mostly me solo.
Yeah.
There's definitely been times where like I mentioned my wife, like I'll just be like,
Of course.
I'll do an edit, and I'm like, can you please look at this, or be like, show her 3 or 4 minutes of what I'm trying to get narrowed down to 2 minutes, and be like, can you look at this and tell me like what jumps out to you? And so I feel like that's one thing that like I've gotten a little bit better over time is like collect people's stories in such a long form, and like trying to find those couple minutes. It's like really kind of finding the pieces that matter. And sometimes I used to really get really detailed about like something they would say about the food. And I think that those matter, but then there would also be like, you wanted to create space for like their personality to shine through or their stories to show through. So like
Totally.
that filter has improved over time.
Yeah.
It's still a struggle.
Because isn't it funny? Like your whole page is supposed to be about food, but really it's like kind of like this project. It's about the heart, it's about why they do what they do. And so really probably at the end of the edit, minimally is about the actual food. Yeah, that's really cool. I love it.
That's kind of just like food's common denominator.
Yes. Which is kind of the same for like how food brings us together, but that's not really what keeps us together. It's like it is such a catalyst, but yet it's really sharing and the gathering and connecting is what keeps people together. Yeah, so cool. Okay, what's something that you feel like is misunderstood about running a restaurant?
That's a great question. I would say, I mean, again, when you go in a restaurant like Neelab's, or you go to sit at a bar, like you, of course, having great interaction and like the providing hospitality, but like you only see so many elements that go into it. And like the whole thing is like, it's truly like running a ship. Like everybody has a role. It is a miracle that like so many restaurants in our city, given how many people have to come into the space and do their job, and everybody has to sync well together, that like I to me it's almost a miracle to even get that up and running and keep doing it every day.
It's so true. That's so true.
So everything from like the hours of prep that go into cutting vegetables, or breaking down a box of fish, to all these things that happen before they fire your ticket in the kitchen. There's just so many things. Or like I've spent so much time in restaurants when they're closed, and say like a bar team prepping the bar, and they're like juicing 1,000 lemons, and they're making these like whole little like tinctures, and like it's just like there's so many things that happen right up until that point for you're receiving service.
Totally.
And so I think that's something that can be hard to appreciate when you don't see it.
Yeah, totally. I think you're right. Okay, what do people maybe like romanticize about restaurants that maybe just isn't true?
I would definitely like, I feel like I'm channeling some of the chefs that I know, because I too romanticize. I have that thought and everything. I think the thing that people would maybe romanticize a little bit about it, and I think that like some media that's come out in recent years, like The Bear, even though it shows how hard it is, it's still somehow romanticized a little
it
bit.
does. Oh, totally.
100%. So, I think any chef will tell you that, like, yes, like the the joy of like creating a dish that tastes delicious and is either creative or just tastes delicious. Like, doesn't have to be that creative. Like, that's important, but also like that's such only one element of work. Like, you're also having to worry about inventory and ordering and make sure your kitchen's going to be well stocked for that day. You're managing team members. You're having to deal with call outs. And so I think like when I'm at home and I'm like cooking on my black soda, I'm like, I could do like a smash burger restaurant. I think like, oh yeah, like only about one element of, maybe 20% is doing that. And the rest is being a good manager, being a good mentor, keeping all these things humming along. So I don't know if that is.
No, it totally does. And I think you're so right. It's like we get so wrapped up in just like, it's like you said, it's like Santa's workshop. Like we get so wrapped up in just like the unwrapping of the presents under the pretty little, decorated tree. But it's like there is a whole orchestration going on in the back that, yeah. So I think just thinking it seems so simple because that's what they want it to feel like, effortless and simple. And, you're constantly being doted on and checked on. And, but yeah, it's so true to remember all those pieces because it's grueling. And it's like the hours even just alone are hard in the restaurant industry. I feel like I think about that a lot for people in the industry.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The restaurant might be open 5 to 10 at night. They're probably going to have people in there maybe as early as, it just depends on the day, what they have to do, 10 or 11 a.m.
Yeah.
prepping that whole day to open.
Gosh.
So there's so much that we don't get to see.
Yeah.
It's so true. Okay, so how have you seen food bring people together?
Good. It's like
It's
I have a
broad. Yes.
flash in my head for that. I was recently. This is another project I'm doing. I was recently in a small town in North Georgia, filming a video about a barbecue restaurants that I heard about. And this is a town of like 8,000 people or less. There's some restaurants. It's not like there's none, but like there's not that many. Gathering places. Probably a lot of people have church, and then I truly believe they have church, and they probably have this barbecue restaurant.
Wow.
And so I got to go and film the video for a few hours, and it was like one of those days where I feel like I needed a little bit of an uplifting in my spirits. Like I think we've all felt like just a heaviness in the world recently. And so being able to like go into that restaurant and see the people come through, and like the owner is there cutting brisket to order, and he's interacting with every person. And some people he's known for years. His family's been in that area for generations. Some people, it's their first time coming in, and everyone is being treated with like this like love and familiarity and all that. And I don't know. And I just like stood back and just kind of observed the room, like, fly on the wall, just how people were interacting. And I was like, there's nothing that quite comes close to like that feeling of like, we hear about the third space. And so seeing how people gathered around it, how the community connected, around it, that was like one of those moments that was like, you felt a little bit of like hope for the world to see. So
I love that. That's so beautiful. Wow. And it's so true. Like food, coffee shops, even bars, it's like, it is such a neutral gathering, like just holistic gathering spot, it's like, it's just so beautiful. Like there's really no agendas or no, it's like just a place for people to be and come together. And there is something really special about that not many industries have, or even church, that's going to be a bit more polarizing. So yeah, that's so cool. I love that. I can't wait to see what barbecue spot that is.
Catherine will pick like,
Oh, please. I want you to. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry about that. I just think like, a lot of times, and my family, right, we occasionally get food delivered, or we get takeout, or we get we do go to chain restaurants, believe it or not. You never know. Sometimes that's just like the convenient option. I'll
1,000%.
say I never eat at a chain restaurant, but I see that like delivery is getting like so popular, and everything is like very much like built around convenience. And it's as a dad, as someone who works full time, all that, I understand that need for convenience, but I also feel so called back to like really like going into like a restaurant, whether it's your weekly breakfast or lunch spot, or like going out for a date night with your spouse, or whoever, catching up with a friend over coffee, like really like sitting in and like just like enjoying that experience. And like I heard Eric Neal talk one time, who owns a little Coyote at Easy Bistro, Maestro Beats, about how like we sometimes have to like be open to hospitality to like receive it. And like my wife and I went out for dinner on Friday night, and we'd had a stressful week, and we just got taken care of, and it was really amazing. So I think like, even though I know it feels like all these ways that we have convenience available to us, like I don't think we should stop pursuing those moments where we can actually really be in a place and interact with the people there, interact with the person we're with, or even just like be present with yourself. So I think that like restaurants are like a vehicle for us to continue doing that, as the world seems to just get, I don't know.
It's hyper focused on convenience. Yeah, it's like just with online shopping and DoorDash and all the things. Like I can't resonate with that more. Like we're in a similar season of life as you and your wife, and my husband and I are like, if we can even just steal away once a week to just go grab a meal somewhere, it is like, it just reignites our entire purpose for just life and parenting. And, it's just, there's something really special about going and, like you said, getting taken care of. So I think, yeah, that's such a good reminder, is get the babysitter, go do it. It's going to be worth it. And it just pours so much back into the community. Just like your one commitment a week even is just huge. Even once a month, like whatever people can do, it matters. Okay. So what makes a restaurant, do you feel like what makes a restaurant feel like it really belongs to the city? Like kind of coming back to that question from earlier of like, a restaurant that maybe feels really Chattanooga. Like, what is it, do you feel? Is it, yeah, anyways, I want you to answer.
Oh, what makes it feel like belongs to the city? I think, it's so easy for me to like get into like, of course, like ingredients, like is it using regionally sourced ingredients? Is it using like regional beer, regional spirits? Like all of those things really matter. I think really the biggest thing is like when a restaurant takes care of its people that work there, and they seem like they themselves are invested in it and they are a part of it. It's not just this transactional relationship. You feel it. Like anytime I go to like, I'm just throwing this, anytime I go to Wooden City, just about like any server or bartender that's there is like, you can just tell that they're like a part of that family, and that they feel taken care of. And like when they feel taken care of, they even take better care of you. And so that might seem sort of like an answer to,
No,
hey, what
it was
goes
perfect. Yeah.
that's you're asking. But like I think that like that's how you make places feel local and comfortable and familiar. And I've spent time with restaurants that are just like hitting their heads against the wall trying to figure it out. And I'm like, you have to create an environment where that experience can happen. And it can happen organically, where people come in and they feel, like they're welcome. And that like you are excited to take care of them. And like, that's not something that there's some crazy formula for or anything like that. I think that just kind of has to start with the culture reset to a restaurant.
This episode is brought to you by Sweet Ease Children's Boutique. Sweet Ease has the best selection of kids' clothes from newborn all the way through teen. And especially as a boy mom, it is so nice to have styles and options that actually fit our vibe. The sweat sets, the cool trucker hats, the shoes, but of course also the holiday jammies and the special occasion outfits. they've got everything. They have 2 locations in Chattanooga. They do personalization with their monogramming in-house, and they have a full online store. Use code HOTC for 10% off your entire purchase in-store or online.
Wow, I love that. It's so true. I mean, because we were just talking earlier about like Calliope and talk about food. I mean, that's not Southern food. You know, so many good restaurants that feel so local have nothing to do with like Tennessee cuisine, you know? And it's like, but it really is the people and just the atmosphere. And, you know, also when it's good people and there's good retention in a restaurant, and then those diners and, you know, customers get to know that staff, it's like then you're going to see more locals in there. So that's going to make it feel even more grounded in Chattanooga. So it's just such a cool concept. But you're right, it's the people. Okay, I want you to build us the perfect Chattanooga foodie night. Okay, so we're going to start and go through like a progressive night, and you're going to, kind of similar to what we did earlier, but you're going to tell me like what the stops are along the way. Okay. Okay, and these can be like a little bit more explained if you want to go into it. Okay, so for the perfect Chattanooga foodie night, pre-dinner drinks, where are we going?
I'm gonna say you do bistro.
Okay.
Start off the night.
What's your favorite drink there?
I'm probably gonna gravitate towards martini or just something out there seasonal about till then.
Cool. We can hang out, Tim. Let's do it. Dinner at what restaurant?
I would say from there, I would jump over to trying to think of some places I haven't like already mentioned. Like, yeah. Oh, and I'll share by the way. No, I want to keep on your. I don't want to divert from yours because I thought about this when I saw it in the notes, and I thought about how there's a bartender who I asked about his ideal date night one time, and he said, you know, if you really feel like you want to fall on a budget, he was like, go to like the nicest restaurant you enjoy going to, like an easy bistro, get some oysters, get a cocktail, and enjoy yourself there for half an hour, and then go to the total opposite.
I love it.
Go to your dive bar and get a burger and a beer, and like he said, he was like, it somehow will make you feel like you have the most holistic night.
Wait, I love this.
So I've tried to think of like how to maybe not to fit within your thing, but yeah.
No, do it. Okay, so we start at Easy Bistro. I'm like, where could we go for that burger that's like just gonna like really fill us up and like keep us going for the night?
I would say once you get your cocktail Easy Bistro, maybe throw in an oyster for oyster happy hour. I would say go somewhere that seems almost totally opposite on paper. Go get a smash burger at Bummy Yard.
Nice.
Go get food at Cranny's. Like somewhere nearby and get a beer, and it's going to seem strange to maybe go from a higher end experience to like your local dive bar, but there's something that is so uniquely Chattanooga about that experience. So start your night there.
Okay, I love it. Okay, those first 2 stops are winning.
I'm so sorry about my
No,
thinking.
no, I love it. This is part of it. Okay, where are we going for something sweet after dinner?
Something sweet after dinner. I'm gonna say I don't know when this is airing, but I've talked to the people at Bonafide. That's gonna open on the south side, and if you're watching this, it's already open. Supposedly, they have a crazy good dessert program.
Thank goodness. Someone in this town needs to just nail dessert. I mean, not that there aren't good desserts, but we don't really have a lot of places that really focus on it and have like really great options. I think it's usually like, this is what we have tonight, you know, or it's kind of more basic. And I am so excited about that.
That is really good. That is going to be or is a huge part of their program there.
Okay, I love it. Okay, and I'm liking our route here. We're kind of like, you know, maybe an Uber, but like if it's nice weather, you could like be hopping on a bike going from place to place. Like, you know, maybe a little walking could be happening. Okay, so from Bonafide, where are we going after dinner to hang and maybe grab another drink?
I would say make your way further down Main Street to Mean Jeans.
Sweet.
That would be a good, you know, if you're feeling another stop, that'd be a good place.
Yeah, we're on the 4th stop now. But if we're feeling like a really late night wild card, where are we heading next?
Gosh, it's like if you asked me 10 years ago, it's like, this
Exactly.
is the light, my lips down my arm, I like my head hitting the pillow. It's
Yeah,
like, yes,
absolutely.
I would say, but for that real late night out, I would be, I mean, Low Main, I think they're open till like 2 or 3
Yeah.
a.m. Boneyard is open
Yeah.
late. I know we talked about Bibby already being there, but those be the kinds of places
Yeah.
I would be at.
Your final stop. I love it. That's so fun. All right. Sounds like we need to make it happen. Okay. So, just tell us like a little bit more about the marketing side of this. I mean, obviously Tim Eats is marketing within itself, which is just awesome. But I guess, and maybe, if you're comfortable answering, like, is anything on Tim Eats like paid content, or it's just fully like goodness of your own heart?
Yeah, I would say it's been like, I've done a couple of paid
Collaborations.
Well,
Yeah. Okay, cool.
but I would say that anytime I do, and I've only done a couple, the vast majority of this been, completely just organic. I don't even expect a meal to be comped or asked for anything like that. And so, but, for even those couple options I've considered, and I've said no to, actually, I've said no to more than I've said yes
I'm
to.
sure.
Because I feel like I still want to say, hey, would I do this even if I wasn't the for it? Like, is there still a good story here? Is there something that, is really worthwhile to feature? And so, I've had a couple of those like, hey, I need to come check this place out. Or, I've done a couple of collaborations with Launch Cast Iron, which I'm like a huge cool. So like anytime they pick up the phone and say, do you want to do something together? I'm like, yes. I don't even care what it is. Yes. So, yeah, that's kind of how I
That's
approach it.
cool. So from a marketing standpoint, did you, or like, I know you said, 2020 really like inspired you to like want to dig deeper, but then you didn't start the account till like end of 2024, right? So has this kind of been like a cool tool to connect you with more business owners for your independent marketing business, or has it been kind of separate?
Yeah, so I always tell people, and I certainly want anybody seeing this, that like I never go and do a Tim Eats video and use and position it like, oh hey, come do this video. Oh, by the way,
It's not like a bait. Yes. No. I wasn't insinuating that, by the way. Okay.
people who do that,
Yeah.
they're like, oh, come do this thing for free, and then it's like there's like a
Yes.
catch to it.
Well, it can kind of be like Heart of the City. Like, I have another business too. And it's like, I never want people to feel like if you're a guest here, I'm going to then just start wearing you out about Scout Guide. So I totally get that. Yes.
Yeah, my the business that I ran for the last few years, like independent marketing business for small businesses, as and Tim Eats, I always say that like they're rooted in the same passion for like
Totally.
working with food entrepreneurs in this space. And so, yeah, I would say for Tim Eats, I think it's just like I just gotten to meet so many people. Otherwise, I would have got to meet and spent like, especially so much distant time. Sometimes
Yeah.
I'm filming these videos, in their restaurant, kind of in their space and in their way for like a couple hours.
Yes.
We get to know each other. So I've made so many like meaningful connections, and from there, who knows where those have led.
I love
Right?
that.
And
Yeah.
so I'm not a good salesperson. I don't ever really want to be a salesperson. I've always been somebody who's been just very relational, and
Yeah.
if there's a need and it fits, things come together
That's
naturally.
so cool. I love that. It's so true. The universe will do its thing. Yeah. Do you shoot all on your iPhone?
Yes.
Wow. Okay, cool. And then you said you're not really in like you don't come from like a videography or like editing background, so that was all just kind of self-taught.
Yeah, I think I did like a little bit of like Adobe Premiere, like a high school media class.
Wow.
Just kind of being the journalist I am, I just kind of pick things up and try to get decent at them.
Yeah.
I'm like very much a journalist. Like I'm decent at a good number of bases. By no means a specialist in anything. So that has kind of allowed me to just kind of like pick things up and try them and get decent enough at them to keep doing it.
So cool. Is there like a specific post on your page that you just cringe at that you've like left up just because you're like, I'm gonna leave it, it's fine, but like just I mean, I'm sure early days, your content's probably evolved. So is there anything you look back on and you're like, I wish I would have done that differently?
It's funny, like one of the first videos I did, and I've been friends with Chef Kyle from Flypea for a while, and he was willing to be, when I was looking for people to do this and I was still figuring it out, he was very willing to step in and do it. And when I look back at the video, I'm like, he deserved so much better, like attention to detail. Like, you can hear music blasting in the background. We're like, I'm interviewing him in a spot where it's like a shadows cast on his face.
Oh,
Like
no.
some of those little things that now I have like checklists and better eye for. Maybe I owe him a redo, some point soon.
I like it. I think the community would welcome it. He's awesome. Tim, you are so cool, and it's been so fun getting to know you and more your just heart for this city and food and your platforms, and I just appreciate you so much. Our final question that we always ask is that I want you to fill in the blank. The heart of Tim Eats is
People.
people. That's the common one, and I love it. People are it. Thanks so much, Tim. You're awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.